There's a truth about building wealth that nobody warns you about. The traps don't disappear as your net worth grows, they just get more expensive. And if you don't see them coming, they will undo years of progress in a matter of months. Today, I'm going to walk you through every single financial trap that's waiting for you at each stage of your net worth journey. Whether you're at $0, $100,000, $500,000, or pushing past $1 million, there is a specific set of dangers designed to pull you back down. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff. I'm talking about the invisible forces that catch even smart, disciplined Australians completely off guard. Let's start where most people start. At $0 net worth, the biggest trap is identity. You've been told your whole life that you're not a money person, that investing is for rich people, that budgeting is restriction. And so you stay stuck, not because you can't earn more, but because you genuinely believe that wealth isn't for someone like you. This is the most dangerous trap of all because it stops you before you even begin. And here in Australia, where the average household net worth recently hit $1.66 million, according to ABS data from 2025, it's easy to look around and think the game is already over. But it's not. That number is heavily skewed by property. Most of those households are asset rich and cash poor. You're not as far behind as you think. Now, once you push past $0 and start building toward your first $10,000, you hit the motivation trap. You're saving $200 a week, maybe $300, and after 3 months, you've got $3,000 sitting in your account. It feels painfully slow. Your brain starts telling you it's not worth it, that this tiny amount won't make a difference. So you blow it. A weekend trip, new shoes, a treat yourself moment that resets the clock to $0. The trap here is impatience. You're comparing chapter 1 of your story to chapter 20 of someone else's. And what makes this worse is that the early stage of compounding is genuinely boring. The math doesn't get exciting until you've built a base. Every dollar you save in this phase is doing the heaviest lifting it will ever do, because it has the longest runway to compound. Giving up here is like walking out of a movie 10 minutes in and saying the story was bad. You haven't even reached the part where it gets good. Then comes the $50,000 to $100,000 zone, and this is where lifestyle creep sneaks in. The ABC reported just last month that lifestyle creep is now one of the top financial risks for Australians getting pay rises. You get a better job, your income jumps, and suddenly your expenses jump right alongside it. A nicer apartment, eating out 4 nights a week instead of 2, upgrading the car. Each individual decision feels small, but combined, they eat your entire pay rise. The data backs this up. Nearly 9.6 million Aussies admitted in a 2025 survey that at least one spending habit was causing them financial harm. And the sneaky part is you won't even notice it happening. Nobody wakes up and decides to waste their pay rise. It happens $20 at a time, a subscription here, a slightly more expensive grocery shop there, a better phone plan because you deserve it. Once you cross $100,000, a new trap appears, and it's seductive. It's called premature optimization. You start obsessing over which ETF has the lowest management fee. You spend weeks comparing 0.04% versus 0.07% expense ratios. You chase the perfect tax strategy. You analyze 15 different super funds. And while you're doing all of that, you forget the thing that actually matters at this stage, which is increasing your income and your savings rate. The difference between a 0.04% and a 0.07% fee on $100,000 is $30 a year. The difference between saving 20% of your income versus 35% could be $15,000 a year. Focus on what moves the needle. Between $100,000 and $500,000 is where the comparison trap explodes. This is the zone where you start paying attention to what other people have. Social media makes this 10 times worse. Research from late 2025 showed that 49% of Australians admit social media directly drives their spending. You see someone your age buying an investment property and suddenly your portfolio of index funds feels inadequate. You see a colleague driving a new car and start questioning your 10-year-old Corolla. The emotional cost of comparison erodes discipline faster than any market crash. And ASIC flagged in early 2026 that 2 in 3 Gen Z Australians are now making financial decisions based on social media. That's not influence. That's outsourcing your financial future to strangers who have no idea what your goals are, what your income is, or what your life actually costs. Now let's talk about the $500,000 mark, because this is where most Australians encountered the complexity trap. Your finances are no longer simple. You've got super, maybe an investment property, shares, possibly a side income. And now the tax implications are real. Australia's top marginal rate hits 47%, including the Medicare levy. Without proper structuring, you're handing back nearly half your gains. And starting from July 2026, Division 296 kicks in, adding an extra 15% tax on realised super earnings for balances above $3 million. The legislation was passed in March this year, and it only applies to gains you've actually locked in, not paper gains. This is also the stage where people start making emotional investment decisions. You've got real money at stake now. A 10% market dip doesn't just sting, it feels like a genuine loss. So you panic sell, or you move everything to cash, or you stop contributing right when the market is offering you a discount. The complexity isn't just in the tax code, it's in your own psychology working against you when the numbers get big enough to trigger fear. Between $500,000 and $1 million, the trap is concentration risk. Most Australian wealth is locked up in property. Gen X households hold an average of $1.445 million in dwellings and land, according to KPMG data from early 2026. That sounds impressive until you realize it means one asset class, in one country, often in one city, funded by leverage. If property dips 15% and you're 80% leveraged, your equity doesn't dip 15%. It gets crushed. Diversification isn't exciting. It doesn't make good dinner party conversation. But it's the difference between building lasting wealth and having a house of cards. Once you cross $1 million, you face the most counterintuitive trap of all. Comfort. You've made it. You're a millionaire, at least on paper. And that feeling of arrival is the most dangerous thing that can happen to your financial growth. You ease off. You stop tracking. You get loose with spending. Because you've got $1 million net worth, you can afford it. This is exactly how high-income earners in Australia end up trapped. They earn $200,000, $300,000 a year, and they're still living pay to pay because their lifestyle expanded to match their income, and then some. And finally, at every stage, there's one trap that never goes away. It's the belief that the next milestone will bring satisfaction. You think, I'll feel secure at $100,000. Then you hit it and you don't, so you move the goal to $500,000, then $1 million. This is the hedonic treadmill applied to money. And it means that without clearly defining what enough looks like for you personally, no amount of net worth will feel like enough. So here's what I want you to take away from this. The path to wealth isn't just about earning, saving, and investing. It's about recognizing that the obstacles evolve. Every new level brings a new devil. The person who builds real, lasting wealth isn't the one who earns the most. It's the one who sees these traps before they step into them. If you got something from this, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you want more straight talk about money in Australia, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.